Yo, and hello everybody, Mike here, baseball collector. Thursday today, Thursday, weekend coming, awesome. You know, yesterday I mentioned on my video talking about the Little League World Series, and I shot that video earlier in the afternoon, and then I went and watched South Dakota play California, and that kid from South Dakota, left-handed pitcher, threw his fourth no-hitter of the Little League World Series playoffs, kind of from district level all the way to Williamsport. He has pitched, I'm going to try to remember the numbers, I'm not going to get it exactly right, 40-something innings, 7 or 8 starts. He's allowed 1 hit in 7 or 8 starts. He's had like 6 walks, 1 hit, and like 115 strikeouts or something just ungodly, like crazy. And they only play 6 innings in Little League, so that's the kind of cool stuff I was talking about yesterday, of how much fun this is to watch these kids play and all that. Yeah, very, very cool. Another neat thing happened today. I have arranged now finally for the meeting of the Mikes, and what I mean by that is, a few months ago, if you guys remember, I helped this guy who has all these cards from his dad. He doesn't know it. I called it my barn find video. It wasn't really found in a barn, but just that idea that, hey, these cards have just kind of laid dormant for a long time. Early Bowman stuff, so 48, 49, 50, 51 Bowmans, some 52 Bowmans. A lot of that awesome stuff. And I bought 2 of the cards. I didn't take them. I bought 2 of the cards, graded them at the National, yada yada. Well, I finally have arranged for that Mike, who owns those cards, this Mike, and Mike from Mikey Mannel's card shop, MM7 Sports Cards up in Oklahoma, to all get together. And so I'm bringing them together next week, and we're going to try to see if I can't help facilitate this deal, try to put Mike to be able to sell his cards with a guy who I consider to be the fairest dealer out there. I mean, he's a collector, really, and he just happens to own a card shop, and that's a good combination for a guy that's wanting to sell a collection. Hopefully I'm going to get to film some of that. I don't know yet. I haven't really talked to them about that. I'm just glad to be a part of the process and witness all this go down, because you rarely get to see it from an outsider, usually on one side or the other. And so just to be a bystander, fly on the wall, so to speak, and just watch all this take place, it's going to be pretty fun. And yeah, we'll see how that process goes. I am super excited about that. I did mail off also my first 2 TTM requests for these things right here. My things that JT made me that look like Perez Steel Hall of Fame postcards. I mailed off Mike Mussina and John Sherholtz today, so we'll see how those end up looking. I'm excited. That's my test run to see how those. So thanks to Kyle Groundchuck, who gave me the addresses. Super nice of him. So yeah, you know, there's this misconception that I'm only a vintage guy, and I do prefer vintage. Like, if I had to choose, I would buy vintage cards versus modern cards, but it doesn't mean I don't like modern cards, contrary to a lot of people's belief. I buy a top set every year. I dabble in modern cards. There's certain things I like. I don't like all of it. I think most of it's junk and crap, but by and large, there's some stuff that I like. And so I'm going to show you a couple of those cards that I got in the mail recently. One of them today, which kind of makes this make sense. Oh, and I got an old card too. So hang on one second. Let's take a look. All right, so I'm going to do this a little bit different than normal. Normally I show newer stuff and then show the old stuff, but this time I'm going to show the old card first. And it's this beautiful 1954 Bowman early win. I was talking with Dawn, Field of Dreams Cards, last week, and we talked about Bob Feller, and I got the Bob Feller, and I showed those yesterday, the autograph that I got. And then we were talking about overlooked players, and one was Early Win, Bob Feller overshadowing Early Win and several other Indians players during that era. And Early Win was a Hall of Fame pitcher in and of himself, 300 wins and all that good stuff. He pitched for several teams, but mainly with the Indians, White Sox. So I feel like I'm on this little kick of Indians pitchers, Indian pitching greats, but Early Win is definitely one of those. I found this 54 Bowman and this beautiful PSA 4, so just chipping away at those sets as well, and just glad to get that. So there's that card. Now the new card, the modern stuff that I got, there's a, I'd love to, maybe I should do a video. Tell me if you want to see something like this, a video of players playing right now that I think are already a locks for the Hall of Fame. Not that any of those would be kind of surprising to anyone, I think, listening, but one guy that is for sure in the Hall, he could retire tomorrow and he would be a Hall of Famer, and that's this guy, Mike Trout. And so I know there's a lot of Trout guys out there, and I'm a huge fan of Mike Trout and what he does, how he plays the game, his statistics, his greatness is undeniable. And I argue with my friends all the time, is Mike Trout, a top 50 player, top 100 player of all time already? And my answer is no, simply because of the longevity factor. He's only played 10 seasons, But how great Mike Trout is unquestionable. Best player of this era. And by the time he's done, he could definitely be top 10 players of all time for sure. So there's no question that I think Mike Trout is a generational talent and unbelievable. And there was this guy on eBay that had, I don't know, 50 or so graded Mike Trouts from various different years. And I'm working on a project of trying to get, I'd like to get all of his Topps base cards. I'd also like to get all of his Topps Heritage cards, his base cards from Topps Heritage. And so in looking for those cards, as I've been kind of doing this, mildly secretly, just not something I've talked about a lot on video for sure, is kind of this desire to pick up Mike Trouts. I just think it's a good idea to buy Mike Trouts. This guy had all these cards, and I bid on a ton of them. It's kind of that same mentality. I put a snipe out on a card on eBay through Gixxon, and I either win it or I don't. Well, at the end of the day, I only won this one from this guy, and it was a PSA 9, just fine 9, Mike Trout, 2018 finest base card. And I had already bought, a couple days prior to this card, his 2018 Topps Heritage in a PSA 9. And what's got me going on the Heritage run is, I love the cards. I love what Heritage does. So I thought, who better to get a run of Heritage cards than Mike Trout? And I also already had the 2012 Heritage, which is his first Heritage card. That's currently at PSA getting graded. So I already had that card, which is the Toughie. And so the rest of them are all going to be reasonably easier to obtain in terms of cost and all that. I mean, this one in a fine 9 was, let me look, I'll tell you what I paid for it. It wasn't crazy expensive, but let's see. $19.16 all in. That includes shipping, tax, you name it. So less than 20 bucks to get a slab Mike Trout. Sure, I'll do that. Would I prefer 10s? Of course, but they're usually 4 or 5x what a 9 is, and that, to me, a mint card is still a mint card, so I'm perfectly fine having that in my collection. So again, I love certain modern things. I love certain modern players, and I think that for me, letting them get a little bit down the road before I start buying their cards. I do not speculate, let's put it that way. I'm not a prospector. I'm not a, hey, let's buy all these guys and hope some of them work out. I'm going to buy the guys once they've already worked out, and I think that Mike Trout is one of those guys. He's, again, Hall of Famer already, could retire, never play another game. He's going in. So that is my mail day for today, and thanks everybody for watching. As always, we'll talk to you soon. Keep collecting.